The Pelicans front office just said something that should scare every player on the team.
But hold on, bro. They just won 49 games, second most in franchise history. It would have been good for third in the West last season.
But this year, that had them in the play-in, all right? And after getting embarrassed in the first round, even without Zion, New Orleans management has decided they've seen enough. When Zion was drafted, New Orleans was the scary young team of the bright future. And now they've been passed up. So with all that pressure, David Griffin said this.
In the past, we've always erred on the side of continuity, and our takeaway has always been, let's see this group healthy. I think we've seen it enough. There's teams that didn't make the playoffs that are going to get radically better this offseason, and I think you'll see a real sense of urgency from all of us to do that.
Whoa, that's team president, El Presidente, coming out and saying, yeah, we've seen enough. This squad ain't it.
And where else does that leave you to look than the squad star player? And that's why I think big changes are coming, potentially for Zion Williamson.
It ain't as bad as it looked. The record was pretty good. We're talking about 50 wins. But the question is it worth it to stay in the middle of the pack when you're watching every other team in the West really push their chips into the middle of the table? We think SGA is going to get better or worse next year. That question can go for Phoenix with the new coach. That question can go for LA retooled about a new salary for LeBron. It can go for a lot of squads out West. So you got to sit there as president and say, what are we doing?
There's this energy around New Orleans that, we're going to come out, we're going to compete. But standing in a 6'11" frame, Brandon Ingram was one of the smallest players on the court in that first round playoff series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, when you had guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander stepping up, the rest of the team on the Thunder, Jay Will, Chet Holmgren, man, the Pelican stars left a lot to desire.
B.I. really put up 14 a game against OKC in round one. That's the biggest reason they got smacked. I think what really happened to B.I. there, and he came out and said it, he just hasn't been the same since Lonzo left. And can we give some love to Lonzo? He's the only reason that Bulls team was looking like a contender in the East. And they went from with him looking like a contender to without him looking like a perennial play.
Facts, man. I mean, it's no coincidence that when he came to Chicago, his impact was felt. When he was in New Orleans, his impact was felt. I mean, Lonzo Ball is one of those kind of guys. So it doesn't take a perfect storm to say this New Orleans Pelican team can continue to get better, really depending on Zion, because he's got the supporting pieces. We're going to run a couple of potential trades, through this trade generator and break it down a little bit.
The first thing we're looking at for the Pelicans right now is a floor general. And I'm trying to think of who's disgruntled around the league. One name comes to the top of the list, and that's Trae Young. Can we get the playmaking of Trae Young, the spacing that he's going to create, the magnet that he is going to be on the court? You got some versatile shooters and defenders like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. Is it going to be enough defense with Valanciunas down the middle? Probably not, but I would love to see it. And for that to work, right, the Pelicans are already over the cap. It's going to have to be BI plus some things. Can we do this? It's successful, bro. So what you thinking about this one? Trae Young for Brandon Ingram and Larry Nance Jr. They both would have expiring deals, one left, and Trae Young with 3 years at $40 million a year coming back.
I think this is a great trade for the Pels, man.
Atlanta's not doing it?
With the Hawks, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I think you're going to also have to find a way to throw in some picks. You're going to have to find a way to sweeten the deal for Atlanta.
No, I think it's Atlanta, a good trade. How many picks you need?
I need at least 2 first rounders, right? And this is why I say that. Trae Young is their franchise. I mean, they could be sitting with Luka right now. The Luka magic could be happening in Atlanta right now. So effectively, if I'm the GM of Atlanta, Trae Young has Luka Doncic's trade value. That's how much he's worth to me. Shit, So that's the only thing. Don't get me wrong. That's a good trade. And not to say Atlanta would never accept it. I think the situation desperate enough. I think if this was 2 years in the deal, I think if they had another losing season, and I think if Trae Young was disgruntled where he'd have come out and publicly requested a trade, I think they'd say, F it. You know what I mean? They'd still have DeJounte Murray, B.I. and DeJounte Murray's. I mean, that's still respectable. You get Larry Nance around.
Solid player. I actually kind of like this one. If you're canvassing the league, bro, you're David Griffin. What is it going to take for you to move off? Time.
The problem, man, is that I feel like it's still too early. He came in the league at 19. He's lost weight, right? I just feel like for the flashes that he's shown, I mean, in the minutes that he's played, what is he averaging? 27 and 9? 20, like
this year it's 23 and 6.
Okay.
And this was his highest games played. First time he passed 61. You thought you were getting 28 and 8 because that was the second season. That was the 61 games were not that good, but were very exciting. I'm all-star because I'm healthy for the first half. 27 and 8, Zion.
I think that he can only get better. I think he can only build on those performances. But I mean, fuck it. You're not really getting anything from him. And right now, do you think you're going to get anything from him anytime soon? I don't know, but he still has that name value. And the same way I just was hesitant to say, let's trade him. People know that Zion has that value. So let's do it. But the thing is, right, is Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum worth building around? I don't know.
I got to, before we get to that, go back to the Zion comment because, yes, he does have the name value, but for how long? How long does it take for that to get tainted? I think it was before this season. It was the 70 games played that even brought it back. I could argue it was gone because it was 24 games, 60 in the All-Star season,
injured for a year, then 29 games again.
So how unlikely is it? It's another 29 games he's playing next year. He's rushing to get back, doesn't have a full ramp up. Bro, what happens if it's 3 of the 5 seasons where he plays less than a third of the games? That value can go down quick.
It almost makes sense to get rid of him now while there's still value there.
There's a good argument if you're acting in the best long-term interest for the New Orleans Pelicans.
There's an argument. There's an argument.
Yeah.
But these two guys, what do you think? One or the other? Darius Garland, okay, or LaMelo Ball?
Ooh.
Because it would work. And I mean, LaMelo Ball, Zion would be exciting. Darius Garland, Zion would be exciting. You still have the shooting with
LaMelo
CJ.
Zion is almost too excited. Like, we got to slow down, you know? we need something. We need something a little more vanilla, if I'm going to be honest. But Darius Garland, I think that might be a winner right there. A Cleveland team that might be ready to shake some things up. I just plugged it into the trade machine. Darius Garland for Brandon Ingram, straight up.
And Larry
the salaries match.
Oh, straight up?
Yeah, the salaries match. You're getting 1 year of Ingram and 4 years of Garland, so that's iffy. If you're Cleveland, what do you need to make that deal?
The thing is, right, I would need to have somebody on the inside with BIOBI. Are you trying to play with Donovan Mitchell or not? Right, because that would be that team. You throw BI in there. Not only do you have one of the longest, I don't know how to say that without sounding sus, but you know, one of the longest, most athletic, the quickest teams, highest scoring. I mean, that's a winner for both ends, for both teams, right? But I would basically need to know Brandon Ingram was staying. In addition, you got to give me like a Larry Nance, right? Or you got to give me you just got to throw something in.
It's got to be picks
because
then you're throwing them over the cap too. So, but no, I actually like that a lot, bro. Because Darius Garland, even LaMelo Ball, you're getting that playmaking that we really desperately need. You've got some scoring punch on the outside. Regardless, I know it's a quote many have said, but in the NBA, sometimes the worst place to be is stuck in the middle. Bro,
Facts.
That's where the Pelicans are headed. I don't care that Zion is still relatively young in this league. Time is ticking.
That's going to wrap up another exclusive of the Hoop Plug. And before we get up out of here, man, as always, we got to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. EvanAlexanderGrooming.com.
The best place for all your men's hair and skincare needs. Y'all, make sure you're going over to EvanAlexanderGrooming.com and plugging in that promo code Hoop_plug for a smooth 20% off.
Yes, sir. And while you're doing that, don't be afraid to go and skedaddle on over to Baden. That's BADEM, Baden.com. They've got balls.
Cool.
All right. And, basketball, soccer balls, volleyballs, handball if you're trying to get crazy, right?
Baseballs.
And they're rocking with the Hoop Plug, man. And if they're rocking with the Hoop Plug, they're rocking with you. And they're going to give you a smooth 10% off any of your basketball, soccer ball, basically your balls needs. That's right. Balls needs. Right. Bottom.com. Hoop_plug_. And that's going to do it. As always, guys, appreciate y'all rocking with us. Put some flavor in your ear.